alignment with the Islamic understandings of Jesus and Christianity.
So this is kind of a humorous side of this that you probably don't know, which is that the two groups that most missionaries and apologists who most like to use me are Muslims and Mormons. Go figure. I think both groups are interested in showing that their own scriptures are important, and in the case of Muslim apologists, the idea is that the Quran doesn't have any of these problems, and therefore Islam is a superior religion. I'll tell you where I would agree with when it comes to the New Testament Gospels and the entire New Testament. We have many thousands of copies, and they do have lots and lots of differences among them. Hundreds of thousands of differences among our copies of the New Testament, but most of those differences are completely insignificant. Like, they don't matter for anything. We're counting like misspelled words and things like that. So they don't. But some of them do matter. They affect how you might understand a passage or a book or the entire New Testament. And the Quran's just not like that. Obviously, the Quran has been faithfully copied for many, many centuries. So that part is absolutely right.
Followers of Jesus, that the early Christians were basically Muslims, meaning they didn't hold any of these heretical Christian ideas, and they were completely in alignment with the Islamic religion and the Islamic way of thinking, of simply regarding him as a prophet and worshiping Allah or God alone, and so on. What could you say about that?
So I would say that there are some elements of truth in that historically, and some things I think I would consider to be problems. But on the basic level, the idea that the earliest followers of Jesus thought that he was a human and that he worshipped only one God, and they also worshipped only one God, I would say that that's true.
Of the Son of God, did they understand him to be the Son of God, not only in the sense of a great guy, but also in in a spiritual, religious way, the way Christians later understood him? Was that something that was there from the beginning?
I think it was there from the beginning, but they meant something different by it. In Jewish circles, Son of God is used in the Old Testament, in the Hebrew Bible. Son of God is used for various beings. It can be used for angels, for example, but it can also be used for humans. The king of Israel was known as the Son of God. And the logic of it was that God has a kind of a representative on earth through whom he channels his will. And this person could be a human, but it was the one who's in a particularly close relationship with God, through whom God mediated his will. And so Jesus would have been seen as the Son of God in that sense. And he might have even talked about himself as the Son of God in that sense. Later, that came to mean that in some sense he himself was divine, that he was God. And that's the meaning that carried on later. But early on, I don't think they meant it that way.